welcome to today's video, which is going to be looking at the top 10 best comic book movies, in my opinion. These are my personal top 10 favorites that I think are the masterpiece movies of the genre, which is known as the comic book films. Now, I'm going to try and not go too long in this video. I'm going to, basically give a small little snippet of what I think of these movies, because otherwise if I dive right into them, we could be here for some time. So you know what, make sure you let me know in the comments below, what are your top 10 comic book films of all time? Make sure you give us a like and subscribe, and let's get right to this video. Number 10, Deadpool 2. I mean, Deadpool 2 is one of those films that is just fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Ryan Reynolds was made and born to play this role. He owns it. I like Deadpool 2 better than the first one. I think adding in the kid element, getting that relationship building between him and Deadpool, and making Deadpool start to realize certain things throughout the movie is key to his character development. Then you add in the extras like Cable, you throw in those type of side characters as well that elevate this movie as well. You've got the funny jokes that are still in there. It still makes you laugh. It is hilarious. There's some beautiful, like opening scene, the ashes, the song is freaking phenomenal. Just everything about Deadpool 2 is so good, and I really want a Deadpool 3. Hopefully we get a Deadpool 3, but who knows. But Deadpool 2 is number 10. Number 9, X-Men Days of Future Past. I love this film. If you're going to do a time travel film, this is how you do it. This to me is one of the best, if not the best, time travel movie ever. It is done perfectly, executed perfectly. We have the old cast and the new cast. And then you throw in a fan favorite, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. Boom. You've got a recipe for an absolute beast of a feast. I mean, there's so many elements that go through here. Mystique's character is developing. There's so many things that they need to do in order to save the past and the future. So, you've got Magneto as well, who is just being a badass, as he always is. You've got the Charles there as well, who is in a different state to what we normally see him, and trying to get him out of there. Wolverine is in it as well. So, what more could you want from an X-Men film? Number 9, X-Men Days of Future Past. Number 8, Infinity War. This is the first MCU film on this list, and this is my favorite MCU film. I love Infinity War. To get a film like this, I never thought was going to happen. You have the whole Thanos character being flushed out in this film. It is his movie, technically. You could rename this Thanos the movie. You could do that. We also see Thor lose everything and transition to another new character, so to speak. You have all the interactions that we all wanted to see. Doctor Strange interacting with SpiderMan, with Tony Stark. You have these Black Panther with Captain America. There's just so many interactions we wanted to see. You got the Guardians with Thor, and it sets up everything going into Endgame that we wanted to see. The Russos delivered on this film. It is fun, entertaining, and it's got my best moment of all the MCU with Thor arriving in Wakanda, which is absolutely badass, gives me goosebumps. This, to me, and what made it also very good was the bad guy one, which was a nice twist that we needed to see. The bad guy wins in the end, and it is just one of those films that I absolutely adore. Number 8, Infinity War. Number 7, X-Men 2. This is the OG, like the X-Men and X-Men 2 are the pioneers for this genre now. Without these two movies, the whole comic book genre, the MCU and that, probably wouldn't be as good as it is now, and probably wouldn't be where it is. This, to me, was the first. These two movies, X-Men and X-Men 2, were the first movies that really showcased that you can make a great comic book film that isn't just a pure comic book film. There is so many elements to Wolverine's origin with Strucker, what's going on there, Magneto, his plan, Charles trying to save everyone. There's so many things in this film that make it fantastic. And to me, it was one of those ones that transcended the genre. And now, because of this movie, we now have the MCU, the DCEU, Deadpool, all these other movies that all stem from this film. So, To me, I love the X-Men. I grew up with the X-Men. There's nostalgia, and X-Men 2 had to be on this list, and it's X-Men 2. Number 6, Logan. I mean, you've got an OG character like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and what do? You make a movie about him, and you give him the send-off he deserves. The most emotional impact comic book film. This had everything. Everything. I mean, whatever you liked about Wolverine, you got in this film. This was a pure character study on Wolverine. And to be honest, this should have been nominated for an Oscar. It was just absolutely phenomenal. It won the Oscar for screenplay, but it should have been nominated for Best Picture. This was just an absolute brilliant performance. You have Charles in there as well. You have so many elements of what the Wolverine Logan is as a character. He's dynamic with Charles and how their relationship has been building, and you've got him coming to the end of his life, being fed up, losing everyone, all this emotional stuff, and the ending, it gets you every time. Number 6, Logan. Number 5, Man of Steel. I mean, you all by now should know my take on Man of Steel. I think it's absolutely one of the best. It's the most underrated comic book film of all time, but it is in the top 5 for me. It is a beautiful, beautiful piece and a character study on the Superman character. Something different that we didn't get previously. This is Zack Snyder's take on it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's so many elements to this, from Jonathan Kent's great sacrifice to showcase how basically Superman grows up, how he becomes good and not evil. There's so many good elements. Throw in a great villain in General Zord who can match it with Superman. You get the epic fights as well. There's just so much to love in Man of Steel. You all know my comments on Man of Steel. If you haven't seen, I got a video called Man of Steel. It's a masterpiece. Check out that to get a more detailed thought of what I think of Man of Steel. But I absolutely love Man of Steel. It's top 5 easily. 5, Man of Steel. Number 4, Spider-Man. This is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the first one with the Green Goblin. I love this. This is what I grew up with. I remember watching this for the first time and I thought to myself, finally, this is where my love for Spider-Man really kicked off. This is what elevated Spider-Man to being my favorite hero. This film was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, say what you want now, but I actually think this one is better than the second one. What holds the second one back is the whole losing his powers. I don't see how Spider-Man loses his powers, but that's just me. Now, the Green Goblin I thought was a great villain. You throw in the whole thing that he's Harry's dad, and now you see the dilemma going on. There's just so many things. Peter's starting to learn how to be Spider-Man. The responsibility, Uncle Ben, he loses him. Everything that you want in a Spider-Man film is in the first Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. And to me, it is the 4th best comic book film of all time. Number 3, Batman Begins. The greatest origin story, in my opinion, for a superhero. This is Christopher Nolan knocked out of the park. This is how you do an original origin story, perfectly. I mean, you've got a great villain, absolutely great villain in Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson, who is just phenomenal. There's so many layers to that character, to that villain. He has a great motive as well. And then you have Bruce trying to overcome and save Gotham in the process. And there's just so many things. Nolan gets it right here on how to tell a great origin Batman story without rehashing basically everything he went through. And what I really liked about this is he took Bruce out of there and showed him training to become Batman, which I thought was a fantastic touch. We hadn't really seen that, and then you get the idea, okay, now he's been through a lot. I can understand why he's as good as he is. And then you throw in Alfred. I mean, brilliant. There's just so many moments. Alfred in the elevator with him, just absolutely brilliant. Number 3, Batman Begins. Number 2, Joker. I love this film. This was my best movie of the year last year. It was fucking phenomenal. Joaquin Phoenix, Oscar-winning performance, deserved it. And this is a brilliant character study. This is one that transcends the genre as well. It transcends it because it is so down in realistic terms, in the realistic world, that it's actually quite scary. When you watch this movie, it changes the way you think of society and the way you're going to act. To see this character dive into depression, into just absolute anarchy, to then build himself back up to, I don't care, you guys turn on me, watch what I'm gonna do. There's so many things in here. I also did a psychology video on the Joker as well. Check that out if you guys want as well. But there is just so many things to the Joker movie that make it so freaking good. Todd Phillips did a fantastic job bringing this character to life. And there's just so many things, from mental illness to depression to everything in this movie, addressing it and showing that as us, as a society, we need to be better. Number 2, Joker. Number 1, The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan comes back and actually does even better than the first one. How many times can you say a sequel, the second one, can do just as good as the first one? There's not too many, but this is one when Christopher Nolan nails it, and there's one big reason why this gets elevated so highly, and that's Heath Ledger as the Joker. Many question him as the Joker, and guess what? An Oscar-winning performance by him, and his Joker just stole the show. Stole the show. He was the perfect person to go up against Batman in this film. And there's just so many psychological things about the Joker and the Batman relationship where the Joker doesn't want to kill him because he has too much fun with him. He needs him because it's boring doing all the other stuff. This is actually fun to test someone that's there. And then you throw in Harvey Dent as well, and turning into Two-Face. There's just so much in The Dark Knight. This, to me, is the best comic book film. It transcends the genre. It is grounded in reality. You believe that this could happen in real life. It's one of those films. Christopher Nolan nailed it, and it's very hard to top The Dark Knight because it is number 1, the best comic book film of all time, in my opinion. So there you have it. That is my top 10 of the comic book genre. Let me know in the comments, what are your top 10? And yeah, I'm very interested. It was hard to choose between the Joker and the Dark Knight, but the Dark Knight remains on top for me. It's very close between them two. Let me know in the comments, because I know people are going to have some that are very different to mine. I only have the one MCU film in there. I'm sure more people are going to have more MCU films in there as well. So let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.